to say, well, save your breath. The way I see it, you don't have much more of them left. It wasn't a threat, fool, but it can be. You seem tired is all, out of breath. Is that right? So you're a fool and a liar. Good to know. The son of Cloud the Temple named me the Desert Flame. The ᵯᴑᴆᴆ know me as Death's Courier. To you, I am simply ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴇᴆ, the key to spare your life. Akaviri, forged in a dragonland, did a sword and armor of the blades, sworn to the service of the true emperor. But know this, my sword serves no one. You could be ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴇᴆ reborn, and I'll still send you back to the divines with your head in your arms. You think on who they were, and not who they are. The Blades are a group of bandits, rogues and traitors. Most of all, they are fools. Fools who couldn't see past their own weakness. Like parasites who cling to the lion's mane. The weak must ally with the strong, and pray they aren't flicked off by the stroke of its tongue. It makes no difference whether this Titus Mead is of dragon blood or schemer, just that his army stands between them and the executioner's axe. If the Blades weren't fools, they would measure their emperors by where they seat their ᵯᴑᴆᴆ guests, at the table or on a pike. True, the one I killed to gain this armor was indeed a blade, a master of the dual sword technique, and my mentor. He was a man of 40 years, and I no older than a dozen, when I first bested him in single combat. Yet he was still my better, and our bodies would never be at an age where I could prove otherwise. At 16, my mentor had exhausted his use to me in terms of body. I would have granted him death right then, if not for the secrets his mind guarded. The Way of the Nine, stances and techniques derived from the teachings of the divines. That was his legacy, and his gift to me, his only pupil. But only when I was ready. A phrase thrown around by masters of all disciplines who wish to teach their pupils the value of patience. What I wasn't ready for, and never would be, was religious nonsense with which he dressed the art of the kill. Now as I enter my prime, I search for the lesson that escaped into the void when we last crossed our blades. Fool, your words display the emptiness of your mind. It was my mentor himself who stated the stance of Arche was one passed on through death. Yet it's possible, as Arche governs life and death, that it was a test of one's scruples, and in killing him, the technique is lost to eternity. Yet if I hadn't struck the killing blow, then I myself would be lost to the void, and that's a trade only imbeciles like you would find worthy. What you consider a fight, or even a war, is nothing more than a brawl between drunken louts over spilled drink. A great swordsman's talents are wasted in a war. Stray arrows, trebuchets, accidents. Many great warriors have been felled by the blade of chaos. One can't even trust his own side in the haze of war. Who's to say who's friend or foe when your eyes squint through guises of dirt and smoke? Like your queries, they range from the utterly pointless to the completely meaningless. Your ears fail you, deaf one. I don't fear chaos, nor death. I despise it. Only a fool acquires a taste for fish and proceeds to hunt for bears. Another simple query from a devout simpleton. The answer is tall, green-robed, and uglier than an imp. The ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴇᴆ's tentacles extend all across Tamriel, but in Skyrim, their presence is weak. While they are busy protecting their vital organs, they will bleed out from their wrists with every Justicar I slay on the road below. Cyrodiil, fool, from the steps of Cloudrilla Temple. From whence I came before that, no one knows. A blade who had left the service found me as he descended the steps. To him it was a sign from the divines. In truth, it was just a cowardly mother, waiting for the opportune time and a man with forlorn eyes. Having left the order, his eyes were indeed tainted with sorrow, and for that he pitied this kitten when he should have abandoned it. Yet it was his newly discovered faith in the workings of the gods that inspired him to develop the skills for which I'm the caretaker. The world is full of such tales of fate and coincidence. That's what we burn into our memories. And all the other instances, every day we live without incident, those moments are never ascribed to the laziness of the gods, just forgotten. A dragon roosts in the hills to the south. Having just gained life, it's not eager for death and avoids my steel. You are a simpleton to assume that I am only drawn by death. Life too flourishes in this hold. The garden of ferns, thistle, and mountain flowers that grows in this hollow column stills my blood and allows me to meditate. At night, the hunter's camp at the mountain top affords me a view of the land, and on clear nights, the bright necklace of stars. There's a stag that passed through here, white as a summer cloud. The hunters think it would look better in red. Fools all become heroes when their opponent is a helpless beast. I confess, I've killed enough Spriggans to start my own sawmill. I could kill you too and sell the bone meal to my farmers. You will understand little of what I speak, and much of it is of no practical use, but facile metaphors tossed around by dying man. But I will enjoy watching your brow twitch in confusion as I pass his words on to you. Take, for instance, Debella, the god of beauty. Fool, the stance of Arche is the very heart of the dual sword technique. Life and death, ice and fire. The nature of all things are born of two. This duality applies to both life and battle. When a mortal kills a foe, in that instant, Arche grants death to one and life to the other. Also the priestly ones will tell you. Yet the true duality lies not in the dirt and stars, but in how the blade serves as both sword and shield. Twin moons, one sky. Each blade shifts from offense to defense, a mirror reflection of the other, and the opponent knows not where to strike. Yet as it is not a single stance, but a motion that adapts to its opponent, it has proved as impenetrable in theory as it is in practice. It snowed that night when it should have rained. My mentor looked at the sky and said Kynareth was all out of tears. And I said, Kynareth does not cry for fools. We drew our swords and dashed through the trees, our feet rapping against the snow. The night before I had chosen my stance. While most would use the flurry of Akatosh, the technique is too violent. I could kill my mentor and lose sight of the very thing I sought to learn. And in the spiritual sense, the father does not come before the son. It was the defense of Zenithar that shielded me from his attack. If I saw both his blades as swords and not shields, I could parry, if not kill. Our blades clashed, but made no sound, muffled by the snowstorm. His swords came at me from all directions, but I kept my eyes on his feet. Or more precisely, the tracks he left in the snow. There was a pattern there, if only I had more time. To Akatosh, I went for the flurry and the kill. Yet when I saw his blade rise to the block, I hesitated, only to see that very blade run me through. It was then that he revealed the true essence of the technique. I assumed he moved to protect his life, when his stroke came for my death. But the blade missed my heart by the width of a cat's hair. I made no such mistake with his neck. Just like that, it was over. I dropped to my knees and reached for my potion as his body drowned in a cascade of snow. I tossed the half-empty bottle beside his severed head and said he could have the rest. When he didn't respond, I couldn't help but laugh. All of it, the tracks, the blood, and his legacy, washed away in a tide of white. You will, but I will enjoy watching your brow twitch, and I grow weary of your questions. Speak quickly, or not at all. You will, but I will enjoy watching your Zenithar. Right foot facing east, left foot facing north, swords crossed in a defensive position. When braced together, two blades are as resolute as any shields, and the winds of Zenithar, with a shift for those who labor and endure. The stance of Kynareth, both blades pointed upward toward the sky, power sacrificed for stealth. Just as we know not from where the rain falls, the blade's vertical position masks its angle and its target. Akatosh, the dragon god of time. And what's battle but timing? No different than a bard's tune. Dance to the beat of a throbbing heart. The stance of Akatosh is an offensive position, a series of flurries that disrupt one's timing and rhythm. It's designed to stagger an opponent and end the fight quickly. But should you fail, you will fall to your own exhaustion. She stands nude, arms raised, cupping a golden flower, pouring cool water over her supple breasts. But here beauty is artifice. The stance is seduction. The blade raised in the right hand glints like the midday sun, bewitching your eyes while its partner lies in the grass. Standar's mercy, the only technique of the 9 that utilizes a single blade and a single cut. As 2 warriors pass on the road, the blade is drawn from the scabbard and returned in a single motion. 20 paces later, a red gash will appear on the victim's neck, no thicker than a cat's hair. 30 paces later, and the gash will form a crescent as pearls of blood trickle from the wound. 50 paces, and the line has run full circle, the blood dribbling onto his collar. The victim reaches for his neck, and upon touching it, his head topples over. So 51 paces, traveler, from where you stand. That's where you can exhale. The embrace of Mara. Both blades held out horizontally to create the illusion of an opening. Love too can be a source of bait. In this case, the love of blood. And Mara's blades close faster and hold tighter than any trap. Julianos teaches that from one thing: know 10,000. Study closely what is distant and look from a distance at what is close. Bah, garbled poetry and peasant wisdom. Unnecessary layers of depth that belies what is the simplest of all truths. It is easier to kill a one-armed foe than one with 2 arms and a sword. The stance of Julianos is designed to disarm, quite literally, in fact. The tip of the blades nearly scraped the ground, sweeping upward to catch the crook of the elbow where the joints meet and the flesh is exposed. Talos. Mortal man ascended to the vines. The front foot faces the opponent, just as Talos faced the armies of men. The back foot faces the rear to the invisible plane of the 8, 2 swords pointed north and south, forwards and backwards in an open stance. If you only see the mortal man, you'll neglect the hidden divine. Begone, then.
Oh, it's you. Come more. New around Riften? Take my advice. In Barb. The bunkhouse isn't for you.
Oh, it's you again. What in blazes do you... If you've got the coin, you're welcome here. Otherwise, hit the road. Here, take a look at this. Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter. Here, take a look at this. If Maven Blackbriar keeps raising prices on meat, I'll have to resort to watering it down just to make ends meet. Door's over there. Why don't you use it?
The suffering the Daedra cause will not go unpunished. Wherever the Daedra hide, the Vigil of Stendarr will cast them into the light. The Vigil will be watching.
Hello, traveler. You look tired. Perhaps Drobar can assist. For starters, he has 10 bottles of mead with your name on them. Well, they will, as soon as he finds a pen. In an unrelated question, do you have a pen he can borrow? Right now, Drobar's own name. He puts them on all his things. But he shares it with someone named Blackbriar. Is your name Blackbriar? If so, perhaps there is no need for a pen. Drobar is not sure. Perhaps the circle of candles is a clue. Also the corpse. One thing Drobar does know is that whoever this was, he did not write his name on the shack. Drobar has looked everywhere, and it is clear the place now belongs to him. Yes, Drobar has always been luckier than most. He is always finding things on the ground that do not have anyone's name on them. That is how Drobar knows what is his. It has always been this way. Otherwise, one of the other orphans will wear his socks. Of course, right this way. Over here are some rare plates he found in a fort. They are made of a special wood that comes from trees. Very valuable in Valenwood. This is a kettle full of wine bottles. They used to be full of wine, but a high-elf came by one day and wrote her name on all of them. But they are still valuable for the glass. Very good material for making windows. Over here is where Drobar keeps his torches and pitchforks. Very handy if you want to start a rebellion. Lastly, this is where Drobar sleeps and keeps a record of his belongings. He would move the piles of burnt wood, but he is not sure if they belong to another. Drobar cannot tell if there are names on them. You are most welcome. Drobar has lived a blessed life. It is only right that he share it. Drobar would even offer you his most treasured secret, if his memory could recall what it was. Perhaps if you help Drobar find his lucky gold coin, that always helps him remember the important things. Blackbriar may they come for his mead, but food spoils, so there is no rule against putting Drobar's name on it. Now, where did Drobar put his pen? It is the first thing that Drobar ever picked up off the ground. He was very excited to find it, until he learned it belonged to an emperor named Septim. But later, Drobar learned that the Septim is not an emperor. He is actually a dead man. So Drobar carved his name into this coin, just as he does with everything else. Really? Where? His pockets. Of course. That must be where Drobar left the pen. In this same place as his lucky coin. Not right now, but Drobar has a feeling he will remember soon. Go where the sands are warm. Have we met? Thank you for finding Drobar's coin.
take your soul.
Okay. Blasted RK. 99 fools, life and death, delivered by my blades, and not once has the stance of RK shown itself. You hear me? You cannot hide from me forever, my mentor. So the fool comes to dance once more, but it seems I've slain all your partners. Then you are still too late, and too stupid to comprehend why. They are one and the same. Or have you come to sharpen your fangs? In that case, the blades you seek are not here either. A sanctuary for the ghosts of the Akavir. My mentor once spoke of it in passing. Now all those ghosts have passed. It seems one of these ghosts was a greedy one. He had 2 legendary blades, away where the others would be blind to his duplicity. Be gone, then. Make it quick. Out with it, fool.
This pilgrim gave his body in service to the gods, as was his desire. In their final days, many pilgrims come to sacred crypts such as this one, in hopes of redeeming themselves from a life of sin. They offer their bodies to the ghosts that haunt these halls, so together they may find absolution. I have Ever since my death, I have been waiting for you to come, waiting for a sign. Then today you enter on the heels of my pupil. This is no coincidence. Truly the gods are great. Well said, my young disciple, for when we ignore the teachings of the divines, we throw ourselves in a pit of despair. In life I made one such mistake, and while the gods will not rescue me, in you they offer a rope so that I may climb the walls of redemption. Forgive me, where are my manners? My name is Garrett. I am ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴆ's former master, and steward of the way of the Nine. Who can say? It belonged to the Needs at one point, and the Akavir at another. As such, the ghosts of Atmora and Akavir roam these halls. It is the latter with which my pupil has quarrel. She thinks that facing me once more will afford her a second opportunity to learn the stance of Arcane. Yes and no. Technically it will grant her the opportunity she desires, yet without faith, even 1,000,000 opportunities are as good as none. The stance of Arcane is based on instinct and flow, and the rivers of life and death. It cannot be understood without first understanding the gods. The 8 came easily enough. It is the 9th that eludes her, and it is little mystery why. Contrary to her belief, it is not about whether one can overcome their fear of death, nor is it about embracing fear in order to value one's life. If it were derived from such platitudes, no doubt she would have long since mastered it already. No, the stance of Arcane is a technique that requires an understanding of the divines. You see, everything from the air we breathe to the ground under our feet is governed by Arcane's influence. In combat, the rivers of life and death flow into a single current, and only one who yields to Arcane's will can know where they part. ᵯᴑᴆᴆᴆ thinks of the religious and the practical as 2 separate blades. At no point did she consider they can be wielded as one. It may sound impossible, and to my pupil that made it so. Still, one who understands how Arcane commands life and death knows the 2 states are nearly identical. However, the gap between us cannot be crossed by one side alone. It requires 2 willing partners to bridge. To end the life of my disciple, and to demonstrate to her the power of the divines. To accomplish that, you must endure what she would not. Only through the pilgrimage of the divines can you prove your worth. When you have walked the supplicant's road, then you will be ready to inherit the stance of Arcane. If you side with her, then you may receive the ire of the gods, or perhaps, even worse, their indifference. That is wishful thinking on behalf of my pupil. She wishes to believe she is close when she couldn't be more far. My hope was that in our fateful battle, she would experience a divine intervention as these pilgrims do when the end draws near. If she failed to embrace the divine's teachings, she would die by my hand. Such is her skill that this is the outcome we endure. You too will face a similar test, but you do not have to do it alone. I need you to receive the blessing of 8 warriors of the divines. Together you will be able to see the rivers of life and death flow through your stars, but only as long as the 9 of us are bound to your will. Such is the consequence of shortcuts, but we do not have the time for the long road. First, you must find a brute of Talos, a warrior whose very breath is a declaration of war. Second, the embrace of Mara. Only one who fights for love will burn the embers. Third, the mercy of Stendar. Claim the warrior whose very weapon is forbearance. Fourth, the tear of Kinnereth seeks the one who walks amongst the beasts and gives life to the soil. Fifth, a mind of Julianos. Only one whose intellect is sharp as my blade will pass this test. Sixth, a mark of Debella. Find one whose beauty is profound enough to melt a heart of steel. Seventh, a scale of Zenithar. Seek the aid of one who fights for coin and tip the scales toward your victory. Lastly, the judge of Akatosh. Only a warrior who claims lordship over the realm of time will light the path. When you have been blessed by 8 who are worthy, and the 8 flames are lit, then I will stand as the 9th. Now go, my young disciple, and keep the gods in your heart.